balance, right? Where we're like, when we have walls, that's not helpful for a relationship. But when we have boundaries, that we all should have boundaries in a relationship. Okay.
What's the difference
between
walls and boundaries?
That's a very good question. Okay, so boundaries are what you set or what I'm comfortable and willing and want to accept in the context of a relationship. Walls is, this is your boundaries, walls is over there. Walls is like, I'm not even gonna get you even close to here. This is a separation. Boundaries don't separate people. Boundaries actually can make you closer. Boundaries allow you to be fully yourself and get close, because you know where that boundary is. If you have a wall, no one can get in. Okay.
Take you back to spaces. I know where I'm going with this.
I do preach, my sister.
Spaces that God took you out of.
Hey, Shando.
Depression, whether it's people,
hey,
whether it's anxiety. Like, don't let this fact that you're in home and you get to be in your thoughts or like you gotta find things to do. Do not let this quarantine business take you back to places that God took you out of.
Let the church say amen. I feel that one.
And we both realized that we were feeling the same thing. And after speaking about the issue, you know, we kind of made an oath or a pact to just not do that anymore, you know? Like, it's a safe space to just talk it out. To just talk it out, you know? So I think an important thing with the communication barriers is if you have someone who gives you the space to be comfortable, to better yourself or to improve the barriers, it makes it much easier. As opposed to it just being you realizing and noticing you have an issue and they're not giving you that space to work on it.
I will after that.
Just have just different skills, communication skills. So when there's situations like that, when there's a situation of conflict, you're just battling ideas. So it's like contempt. Anyway, I think what happens is that just happens that one person has an idea, another person has an idea, and maybe they both, elements of it is correct,
right.
But because they're trying to prove their point, like they said, the breakdown communication where they don't feel they're heard. So it's a reaction, defensiveness, and all that stuff that goes with it.
That's good.
But I got back up. And I didn't let, like, my failures dictate my future. I use it as motivation in order to push myself to greatness. And I feel that things that are easier don't give me the same satisfaction as things that are harder. And I'm willing to put in work for delayed gratification.
Because I'm like, I'm always lacking something. You know, when it comes to school, you know, grades are there, and you know, when it comes to financial aid, I'm lacking something. So, but I never allow, because I lack such and such, I never let it, you know, stop me and let it overwhelm me to the point that I give up because I don't have certain things, or you know, because I'm lacking this, I'm lacking that. I always, you know, you make a way.
That I was unmuted then, and I was just agreeing with everything you said, because there are times in your life where life is going to test you, y'all. And you're going to be at the edge going like, okay, is this worth it? So I remember similar to you, but it was post-college, and I left state, and I moved into a house with like 5 other people, and I was struggling. I was surviving on like $30 a week, and driving back home on the weekend and like finding food and going back, and it was hard. But what I learned from that experience is that if you are determined to do something, you can make it happen. It may take a while, like you said, but eventually you will get where you want to be. So this time for me it's humbling, because I can appreciate when things were even leaner. And thank God he has been faithful, and they're not as lean as they once were.
I don't know how to describe the word without using the word. It's just a show of dedication, consistency. That's what commitment means, right? Like you're accepting your responsibility for that obligation and following through with it.
People, being a listener is somebody that's taking it in and not just trying to give you their answer back, just to talk to you. Resourceful is somebody that doesn't give up. They don't just stop at the one thing. They just make sure that whatever they're doing or whatever they're trying to accomplish, it gets done.
Wait, right? You take your little sheet. Your little sheet is the current assets that you have now, right? And you master those assets. You master how to work those. So if I'm a good referrer of people, a good referrer of places, then you know what? There's a business lane for your being a referrer. Think about this for a second. Airbnb and Uber, they're all referrers, right? Airbnb doesn't own any physical property, but it links a property owner with someone that needs a place to stay while they're on vacation or some kind of long-term assignment or something of that nature, right? Uber doesn't own any vehicles, but it is a connector. So it connects the person that has the vehicle with the person that needs transportation services, right? So we know in this day and age, there's a lane for individuals and companies that do nothing.
I just don't feel good about celebrating nothing. We maybe we'll do it another day or something like that. So we ended up going home. And when I got home, I went in my room. I took the doorknob. I can see it clear as day. I took the doorknob out of my door and I was crying because I could not believe this was my graduation and I had a cheese sandwich and went to bed. I was like, yo. But the discipline part of me was like, I'm not going to let that happen again. And you know that word discipline, that's like a curse word. Now, it really is. It's a curse word. When you talk about discipline, you're like, ugh. But discipline weighs ounces. Regrets weigh tons. Are y'all hearing me? Discipline.
What 3 pieces of advice would I give a college student? So the first piece of advice is use the resources that college affords. So there are particular resources in terms of professors and their knowledge bases and who they know, in terms of information, right? Libraries and I know I went to New York University to get my bachelor's degree, and our library base was insane, right? So there were books and information specifically that I had access to for free. So make sure you're utilizing those resources. Make sure that you are, so that's 2. And I think 3 is make sure you're cultivating yourself. So people think of college as socialized. Either it's super fun, or it's super strict. I gotta get out. And the reality is those 4 years, if you are obtaining a bachelor's degree, or 2 years or whatever how many years your college experience is, you really should be cultivating yourself, developing that intimate relationship with yourself, right? Nourishing yourself, knowing yourself, teaching yourself, and learning from everything that's happening around you in that environment. So those are my 3 pieces of advice.
I got another.
I think patience and have a positive attitude, because when you do start up, everything doesn't always just kick off. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. You have to have patience, because even when I was starting this business was booming, but then it kind of slowed down. Yeah, but then it kind of slowed down a bit. So I feel like patience is key, because sometimes things don't always go on an upward slant, but you have to sort of persevere through that. Don't be discouraged, this is a bad week. You have to kind of think of, hey, what can I do to promote, et cetera, to get to the next stage of, it going back up. You feel me? So
I feel you.
Yes, perseverance, patience, positive attitude, number 1.
Were those 3 P's? Perseverance, what did you say? Persistence and positive
Perseverance, patience, I forgot to laugh.
And positive attitude.
Positive attitude.